Okay. So good morning. Good morning to my students. Basically, this lecture is for my MBBS students and the biomedical students, basically who are working for a actually in other batch. Somebody they are trying to do a model by deep learning, so that any physiological phenomena, when this kind of pathogen attack will be there in our body, how the other system will respond and what will be the implication of that. So this lecture will be also useful for them too. Okay. So in the last lecture we have understood what is cytokine storm, because when the pathogen enter in our body to do some harm, then our immune system is getting alerted, and it will be there will be some signaling chemicals which will be calling all the defensive cell, and it will accumulate them to fight against the infection or the virus attack or the pathogen. But the problem is, sometime in various kind of any new kind of virus or pathogen, our body sometimes become so much aggressive that instead of along with fighting together, when they are fighting with the pathogen, at the same time they will kill the own body cell. So this is the nature of a hyperactive immune system or response of our body. So cytokine storm is one among them. So already we discussed that in COVID, so many cases it was observed that the fatality is occurring due to this cytokine storm. This will causing the multi-organ failure. So definitely this is to be stopped. And already from the last lecture we understand that the what are the symptoms, means what's the implication of that cytokine storm. It will create the inflammation, and our defensive cell become hyperactive, so it is to be suppressed. So for that suppression, glucocorticosteroid is the one of the option. Till that we already discussed. Now this lecture we are going to understand somewhat in detail way that how if we apply the glucocorticosteroid, then how this suppression mechanism will take place. Okay, so let me share the screen. My screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today's discussion on dexamethasone. Already we know it's a kind of corticosteroid, a glucocorticosteroid. So this is produced from the adrenal glands. You see this triangular shape, this is the adrenal glands, which is a suprarenal gland, and it is located the superior end of the kidney. Okay. So basically, if you take the cross section of this adrenal gland, it is like this. So outer one, that is the capsule, and the middle one, that is the cortex, and the inner one, that is the medulla. Okay. So if you take the further cross section, so the outermost layer, this is the outermost layer, the capsule, and the cortex is again constituted with 3 consecutive layers. So those are zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona reticularis and that medulla part. Okay, this is the cross section of the adrenal gland. What is happening? Okay, then now we'll understand what are the steroids secreted from the different part of the adrenal gland. So already we understand the cross sectional from the cross section of the adrenal gland, what are the locations. So these are the location wise and what are the steroid hormone will be secreted from that location. But we are much more interested on glucocorticosteroid, and it is very clear that the glucocorticosteroids is secreted from the zona fasciculata, okay, and also from the zona reticularis. How it will happen? When? What is the situation that this adrenal cortex will secrete this glucocorticosteroid? What is the situation? So there is a gland in our head in sella turcica cell, which is called pituitary. You know, that is the master gland. Due to some excitation or some due to some response, the adrenocorticotropic hormone will be secreted from pituitary gland, and this will stimulate the adrenal cortex, and as a result of this, the glucocorticosteroid will be secreted from the area of zona fasciculata and zona reticularis. So this is the consequence. So let us know what is that stimulus that will accelerate to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone from the pituitary gland. Those are fear, any pain, injury, or infection. If there is any hemorrhage during the surgery, in hypoglycemia, cold, and these are the situation when our pituitary will be getting excited and it will secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone, which will in turn stimulate the adrenal glands to secrete glucocorticosteroid. So these are the consequences. Now, these are the steroid hormones, and again it is shown in this table, shown the cross section wise from the which area what are the steroid hormone is secreted. But today we will be much more focused on glucocorticosteroid, and it is, as we've seen already, this is secreted from adrenal cortex area, the zona fasciculata and zona reticularis area of adrenal cortex, and this is stimulated by adrenocorticotropic hormone. And we have seen already what are the factors are responsible for the to stimulate the pituitary gland. Okay. Now, there is a very important thing I am going to tell. Based on the activity, the sustainability, the action sustainability of the steroid, it can be classified in three categories. One is short acting, means if you apply it within, the activity will sustain within 8 to 12 hours. And some other things, intermediate acting, it will 12 to 36 hours, and some steroids, it will keep on acting 36 to 72 hours. That means once you apply it, it is difficult to stop them, and it will keep on activating keep on action. It will be on action for during 36 to 72 hours. So these two hormones, that is the uh, betamethasone and the dexamethasone, those are the long acting hormone, a long acting steroid hormone. So you should be very careful that when you are applying, you should analyze all the present situation and its consequences, and then only you need to apply it, because it is long acting. Now you see one important thing. Sorry, we already understood, that the inflammation is one of the important physiological change during this cytokine storm. And our target, we already from the last lecture we concluded that somehow we have to suppress the inflammation. Okay, now here, considering the inflammation, I have to stop the inflammation, I have to find something, some chemicals which will which have anti-inflammatory potency. Okay, so I tabulated this table, I collected from internet, somewhere I got. You can see, if I the cortisol, the this is the hydrocortisone. If the potency, the anti-inflammatory potency of this hydrocortisone is 1, then you see that dexamethasone is 30. You can take it as the base or the unit. It is 30 times. It is 30 times. So now you can understand, if you apply the dexamethasone, how fast it will be suppressing the immune system. Okay, so you should be very, very careful. Okay, and here, once you apply it, you should not withdraw. You should not withdraw immediately. Why? Because I am giving one example. Say we are taking morning breakfast, then lunch, then dinner, evening some snacks, like that. When we are doing this, our brain, the reflex will be habituated on the based on the timing, and we will feel the appetite. Now slowly, if we are taking food in every hour, our appetite will increase, because our body, our brain reflex will be changed, will be mapped as per that. Okay, when this change occurred, then again you are want to come down in the earlier food sequence, that breakfast, lunch and dinner. You will be experiencing the appetite all time. Your body will experience the food insufficiency. So once this you applied the steroid in the body, which having the very high anti-inflammatory potency, and immediately if you withdraw it, or if you stop it abruptly, then the adrenal insufficiency will occur. And this is a very, very critical. It can go till the fatality. So when we are handling with hormones and steroids hormones, you should be very, very careful, and you should understand the situation, and after that only you should apply it. Okay, now let us understand, even though we are much more concentrated on the action of dexamethasone on human immune system, but still we should know slightly about the other responses. You see, we'll see from the picture the cell responses, because already you are aware all the things, just I am recalling you. So when the steroid hormones are present, it is secreted. So the albumin and the cortisol binding globulin, So these are these two chemicals will be secreted from liver. So these steroids will be sitting on them. It will be binding, and as a carrier, this will enter inside the cell cytoplasm. And in the cell cytoplasm, there will be some steroid receptors. It will catch and it will enter inside the nucleus. Nucleus, inside the nucleus, DNA will be there. And it will, after entering inside the nucleus, basically it will break the DNA to messenger RNA. You know what is messenger RNA? It is a single stranded RNA molecule that is complementary to one of the DNA strands of a gene. So now if this is happen and some new protein will be released. So if these things happen, then the entire cell action on the body will alter. So you should remember these things also while you will be applying it. So your cell response may get changed. Okay. Now the action on carbohydrates, protein and fat metabolism. What will happen? What will happen? Some players, they will it is called, what is some term is there, some they used to, while they will be playing, they will be, before that they will be using that steroid or something. It is called some doping or something is there. So if that, then the brain and your muscular area will become much more stronger. You can run faster. Run faster. Sir, I am in a class. I will just, it will take some 15 to 20 minutes. Should I call you after that? So, where else? So, this, so they will be, suddenly they will be become much more powerful. They can run faster. Why it is so? Because this steroids hormone increase the blood glucose level by gluconeogenesis. This is a cycle happening in the liver, and it is inhibit glucose to uptake and utilization by the peripheral cells. These steroids will force the uh, body mechanism to accept glucose in brain and muscle area only. So your brain will be much more active, because if glucose, all these things are, the energy is going there. Basically what is happening, it is the neurons, they will be connected, one neuron dendron is connected with another neuron axon, and in between some neurofluid transmitter, which is basically creating the impedance between the signal, while the signal is transmitted from one neuron to other. Basically that will control the excitation and inhibition of the signal to a perfect decision making, or to create the response. So if your this glucose is going there more, basically it is changing the impedance and it is matching accordingly, so that our recognition or the decision making capability of the brain, it will increase. Okay. And as I told you, it is also going to muscle area, so muscle will become very powerful. You can run faster, you can work more, you can do bat for long time. All these things will happen. Okay. Then It also promotes the protein catabolism and increase the plasma amino acid and protein content. Okay, it will redistribute the fat. Okay, that's why sometimes this fat will accumulate on the face, back, or above the clavicular, our clavicle here in the neck, that clavicle bone, that area. Okay, that's why from the peripheral rather than the peripheral area, rather than the limbs, it will accumulate on truncal area. You will find the truncal obesity where the limbs are thin. Okay, and it will also increase the free fatty acid. So if you apply the steroid, so these are the change on protein, fat, and carbohydrate metabolism. Okay, these are the, as I told, you see here in the fat, those are all the adipose tissue. So just 1 minute, just 1 minute. So all the fats, this has accumulated on the faces. Okay, 1 minute. So so this fat is accumulated on the face. This is called moon face. Then you see here it is in the back neck. It is, the fat is accumulated. Sometimes it will be here also in between the two sternum. Sorry, two what is called scapula. In between here also fat will be accumulated. Okay, so this is called buffalo hump, and you see these are the clavicle bone, and the supraclavicular area the fat is accumulated. So these are the symptoms happen due to the carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolism change in the body. Now you know this mineralo uh, corticosteroid. This will uh, this will uh, do some interference in our renal system. So it will try to preserve sodium, which will increase the blood pressure, and it will try to throw out potassium and hydrogen cation. And you know, this cation is responsible for the acidity of the electrolyte system. And if you throw out the some situation, if the body is trying to throw out the cations, the acidity will reduce and the alkalinity will increase. When that situation is called alkalosis. Your body electrolyte, the body fluid will become much more alkaline in nature, which is called alkalosis. Glucocorticosteroid, it will also try to throw calcium cation, which will cause hypocalcemia, shortage of calcium cation. It will increase the free water production. Water will come out from the renal system. There will be, because there will be a wastage of water in our body. We can experience we can feel thirsty. Okay, so these are the effect of steroid on renal system. Cardiovascular system, there is a severe effect which is called fibrosis. Fibrosis is what? Basically, we know the myocardial tissues. There are some tissues, they are generating the signal electrical pulses and some it will be conducting. There will be depolarization and repolarization through which the heart is pumping and the circulation is taking place. So these all myocardial tissues are very najuk and it is thin. Okay, so if it's become fibrous, get thickened, become stiff, it will not able to pump. Because basically the depolarization and repolarization will not take place properly. So heart will not able to pump. So basically it will go towards the failure, which is called fibrosis. Then this will if you apply the steroid, it will cause vasoconstriction. That means it will try to contract the vessels, blood vessels. The inner diameter will reduce, which will increase the blood pressure. This will cause the hypertension, and the person will experience other muscle fatigue also, because there is huge change in our body normal mechanism. There is a change of sensory motor in central nervous system. The behavior will change. Okay, the person will get excited very quickly. Mood will change. You know, I used to take some. I have a disease, the asthma. So I have to take some steroid. When the allergen will enter in my body, suddenly my lung will expand more rather than its conventional, means volume will increase. So immediately once that is cut, some food is there, like prawn, sometime egg, mutton, some foods are there, brinjal. If I take, then immediately this situation will start and it will become uncontrollable. So immediately I have to take the steroid. And I have seen, after taking the steroid, my mood is getting changed. I getting excited in simple thing, for which I'll not get excited, but after taking that steroid, I will get excited. So this will cause the hyper excitability. And there will be a behavioral issue you will experience after applying on it. So now coming to the point, the immune system. This will act almost to all the immune system agents. It will suppress the lymphocyte, eosinophil, basophil, monocytes. Suppress means it will not stop, or it will not create any problem to bone marrow to produce it. But as in the earlier lecture, we understand we learned the detailed inflammation mechanism, that all the defensive cell, it will come out from the blood stream and it will go to the infection area and it will accumulate together. So this glucocorticosteroid, it will not allow the defensive cells to accumulate at the infection. Okay, so it will increase the polymorphonuclear cell. Okay, it will increase. It is called polymorphonuclear cells. It will increase in our body. This is also a kind of defense mechanism of our body. What will decrease? It will decrease the adhesion, immigration, and chemotaxis. Okay, the phagocytosis, the procedure, you know, phagocytosis, this is the mechanism to engulf the pathogen. Respiratory burst, already we learned the respiratory burst in our last lecture. It is called oxidative burst. This is the very rapid mechanism to destroy the pathogen. So already we understand this in the bloodstream. When these defensive cell monocytes like that, all the things are in the circulation, and once the infection found and all the cytokine started to release, which what it is doing, it is creating the adhesiveness with the inner wall of the blood vessel. Okay. So if you apply the glucocorticosteroid, this adhesion will reduce. And after that, what I told in the last lecture, it will come out from the bloodstream. This is called immigration. Then it will slowly, this is the infection area, it will travel and it will come to the infection area to fight. So that is called the mobility of that defensive cell while it is coming out from the bloodstream. This is called chemotaxis. This will also be suppressed significantly. So this is a simple mechanism how this macrophages will get activated. So once the infection, say we can consider here the SARS-CoV-2, macrophages, it will catch it, or it will be binding. There will be a coexcitation. So from that coexcitation, okay, the naive T cell in our body, this will convert to T helper 1 cell or 2 cell. Then the T helper 2 cell release the interferon gamma. This is also a chemical. It will activate the macrophages. Okay, and it will reduce the following things. Once you apply the glucocorticosteroid, this is called this pathway. It is called inflammatory pathway. Arachidonic acid pathway, it will be reduced significantly. The prostaglandins, this is responsible for inflammation. This will reduce. The leukotriene. This leukotriene is a inflammatory. We know this leukotriene is a inflammatory chemicals which will be reduced significantly. Interleukin 1 and 6. Then the tumor necrosis factor. It's a cytokine. This will reduce. It will significantly reduce the dendritic cell activity. So all the immune system mechanism, it will be reduced. So as already in the previous slide we understand, so the macrophages will catch the pathogen and it will become excited, which is called co-stimulation, and this will again, that macrophages will attach with naive T cell, and this will release interleukin 4. Interleukin 4, it will be released, and this interleukin 4, it will convert the naive T cell to T helper 1 cell, and in turn T helper 1 cell, it will release interleukin 4 and 5. This is the signaling chemical, and it will accumulate all the B cells, and from the B cells the antibody will be getting generated, and this antibody will be killing the pathogen. Now if you apply the glucocorticosteroid, so there is a gene in that T helper 1 cell which is called GATA3, that activity of the gene will be getting suppressed. Already we know how the cell response is getting changed, because the DNA is split to mRNA. So once this activity of the behavior of the GATA3 gene is suppressed, so it will suppress the release of IL interleukin 4 and 5. So if interleukin 4 and 5 is less, then there will be less B cell, there will be less antibody. So entire mechanism will be get interrupted. Another situation, in case of same co-stimulation, the naive T cell, it will be releasing interleukin 12, and this interleukin 12, it will convert this naive T cell to T helper 2 cell. This T helper 2 cell, it will release interleukin 2. This interleukin 2, in turn, it will increase the release of cytotoxic T cell. Okay, and this cytotoxic T cell, it will increase the activity of the cytotoxic T cell. This cytotoxic T cell, in turn, it will release the perforin and granzymes. Okay, and the apoptosis will be initiated. Okay, now if glucocorticosteroid is applied, then there is a gene in that T helper 2 cell that is called Tbet. This gene action will be changed. If it is changed, so release of interleukin 2 will be less, and the entire this cytotoxic T cell activity will be changed, and the apoptosis will be suppressed. So what is basically that? This is the infected cell. Once the cytotoxic cell accelerated, it will increase the release of perforin. From the name, it is very clear, perforation. So there will be some there will be some hole. There will be some hole in the cell, and through that hole, the granzymes will enter, and it will kill the cell, infected cell. So this is called apoptosis. So this entire process will be changed. Okay, it will also change the inflammation process. So this will be slightly I'll be elaborating later. So today's lecture is till up to this only. So the next what is pending is we'll know detailed mechanism, suppression of the inflammation mechanism if the glucocorticosteroid is applied, and some of the side effects. So now in conclusion, what we can tell, you see, we understand that very clearly that if the cytokine storms are initiated, or it is creating the harm in our own body, definitely we can apply this dexamethasone or this glucocorticosteroid. It's a kind of glucocorticosteroid, and it will definitely improve the situation. But it cannot be applied in the initial stage. That means you should be very confirmed that our body immune system is successfully able to kill all the infections, means all the pathogens. And now it is to do that, while it is doing, it is become much more aggressive, and it is creating harm on our own body. That time only you can apply. But if you are not confirming this, even though this confirmation is not so simple, a lot of other things are there. So it is by conceptually it is very easy to understand, but to predict it, it's very difficult task. So why I am telling in conclusion that you should be very careful to apply this dexamethasone, to understand the body situation. It should not be applied in the earlier stage, because at that time your immune system actually should fight against the infection, and it should kill the pathogen. After that only you should apply. So these are the conditions you should understand very properly, and then only you have to apply this steroid. So Nandini, you can stop the recording now.